Hello, and welcome back. Today we have Post-Platinum Review number 1, Tales of Arise, Beyond the Dawn. Released in 2023, Beyond the Dawn is the first DLC story content for 2021's Tales of Arise. Complete with its own set of trophies, Beyond the Dawn continues the adventure for our 6 returning party members and adds some new and unique features. Before starting, the game recommends completing the main story, and rewards you with extra gold and SP based on how much you have completed and how high you have leveled up, and even gives you new special weapons if all characters are level 100. I don't know why you'd play the DLC before the main game, but the extra rewards were a nice incentive to complete the game if you haven't already. However, Beyond the Dawn does equalize things and starts all characters out at level 65, regardless of where you were at previously, so the enemy encounters will be challenging accordingly. Set 1 year after the conclusion of the main story, Beyond the Dawn begins with Alphen narrating and providing an update as to what has been going on in between.
1 year has passed since the end of the great conflict between Dana and Rena. The two worlds have finally joined and literally merged into one. A single planet now exists, teeming with all 6 elements, as it always should have. But with a new world comes a new set of problems. Unprepared for the changes thrust upon them, Danans and Renans now find themselves forced to live side by side. Although the initial chaos of the Great Convergence has faded, the people of this new world are realizing that some scars are not so easily healed.
Unfortunately, the new world that Alphen and his team envisioned has not yet come true. Although the Danans and Renans live side by side, they don't live in peace. The game then cuts to a young girl, as she is pursued and cornered by some angry Danans. Her eye begins to shine, and just like a trapped Miles Morales, she disappears and escapes.
She's gone.
There's no way! She's gotta be nearby! Find her!
We then see Alphen and Xion as they travel through Mahag-Sar. They are making their way to Niez to meet up with Beifan as well as their old teammates.
I could say the same to you. If you get injured, it's going to hurt now, you know. So, the mausoleum is somewhere around here?
That's what I heard. We'll have to get more details from Beifan when we meet up with him in the city.
As they talk, they are approached by the Danans from earlier that were chasing a child.
Hey, you! Did you see a Renan brat around here?
You're looking for a child? A Renan?
They recognize Alphen as the Blazing Sword, and want his help to capture the girl, who it turns out is the daughter of a Renan lord.
Even if she's just a kid, she's still the daughter of a Renan lord. But if we've got you with us, we'll have nothing to fear.
Sorry, but I can't help.
Hey, you gotta be kidding me, man! She's a lord's daughter! They're your enemy, right? You're the Blazing Sword! It's just common sense that you'd help us!
Come to think of it, rumor has it he's been traveling with some bright-eyes chick. Wait, is that why?
Despite wanting his help, they are rude to him and Xion, and leave before things can escalate. After After a little while, they find the girl, but she is trapped by Zoogles. Alvin and Xion fight them off with ease and rescue her. The girl, Nazamil, is very shy and reluctant to trust them, but takes a liking to them, especially Alvin.
You're the daughter of a lord, aren't you? You can relax. We'd heard people were after you.
The blazing sword of Dana?
Is there any way we can help you?
They invite her to travel with them to Niez, but that is where she was running from in the first place. She doesn't want to cause any problems for them, but eventually agrees to accompany them anyway. They battle and make their way to Niez. In town, they meet and catch up with Rinwell and Law.
Alvin! Xion!
Xion!
Yo!
It's been so long!
It has. You're both looking well.
Never been better. Well, just talking about us, though.
There's apparently some trouble in town.
Kisara and Dohalim then arrive, and the team is reunited.
The gang's all here.
So, what's this trouble you mentioned?
They discuss the issues plaguing Niez, as there are racial tensions brewing amongst the Danans and newly moved in Renans. They introduce Nazamil to the group and take her to the Renan district of town.
I'm Rinwell, and this here is Hootle. Nice to meet ya. Woo!
Some Danans from around here are after her, because her father is a lord.
As they travel, we learn what everyone has been up to. Dohalim is in charge of Pelagion, and integrating the Renans and Danans there. Kisara is in charge of the Service Corps, a new group located in Vicint. Rinwell also lives in Vicint, and has been studying at the library, while Law is a member of the Crimson Crows. Alvin and Xion haven't settled in one place yet, and are traveling around the world. As they reach the Renan district, they learn the reason for Nazamil's problems.
Away with you! You don't belong here. How many times do we have to say it?
How could you say such a thing? She's a Renan just like you, and a child at that.
If it isn't the blazing sword, the very person who destroyed our society, you're one to talk.
You Renans value lineage and social standing, don't you? Nazamil is the daughter of a lord.
Her father was a lord, yes. He was the esteemed Lord Urwagil Hildress, the former Water Lord.
Urwagil, the lord who preceded Volron.
But that girl's mother is just some embedded nobody!
Her mother is a Danan?
The blood of a glorious lord mixed with that of a lowly slave. It's repugnant.
She is both Renan and Danan, and unfortunately is despised by both. Finally, they reach Bayfon, who informs them that he felt it was best if Nazamil lived in Vicint for her own safety. The group decides that Nazamil should travel with them as they escort her to Vicint. However, they must first head to the mausoleum by Adon Lake. Mausoleums are preventing the astral energy released when the worlds combined from reabsorbing into matter. Until they are dealt with, the worlds can't fully merge. They fight and explore their way towards it, but must first stop and camp outside in preparation for the challenge ahead.
It's not a good idea to take on a mausoleum on an empty stomach. Why don't we eat first?
Great idea, Alphen.
Oh, it's been a while since I last had Kisara's cooking.
We're not putting it all on Kisara. We're going to cook together.
Really, I'm not...
It seems everyone's in the mood to cook. If it's not too much trouble, we'd love for you to join us.
I had an idea for something we could make with what we have on hand, but it looks like I'm still short on a few ingredients.
In need of a few ingredients, they search the area for items to cook with. As they search, Nazamil stumbles across an old Danon relic by an abandoned teleporter. Rinwell recognizes it as a good luck charm, given to a family member or friend to keep them close even when far apart. Nazamil doesn't need it though, as she isn't close to anyone, so Alphen takes it. Back at camp, Nazamil is finding it difficult to relax, as she isn't used to eating with others.
It's just that it's a little uncomfortable. I've almost never eaten with others.
Oh, because both Danons and Renans... Well, what about your family?
I don't know anything about my mother. I've never met her. What about your father? My father would only visit when he needed me for something. And when he did, he would yell and beat me. The other members of my house did the same.
She provides some unpleasant background of her upbringing and begins to open up and allow herself to feel happy. In the morning, they head for the mausoleum. Nazamil is confused that the group has taken a liking to her, as this hasn't happened to her in the past. After more battling, they reach the entrance. Mausoleums are essentially new dungeon areas to explore, collect, and battle through. The first is the Mausoleum of the Ruins. Mausoleums were originally intended to delay the collapse of Rena, but are still operating and need to be shut down. After many battles, they reach a control room filled with ancient Helgankul technology. As Nazamil approaches a machine, her eye begins to glow, and a sovereign-like crest emits from her. Afraid, she goes invisible and vanishes.
No, it's not what you think.
She vanished! Nazamil! Wait!
They traverse deeper into the mausoleum, hoping to find Nazamil. Eventually, they do find her in a large chamber.
Why did you run off? It's dangerous to be in here all by yourself.
Careful! Something's coming!
Before they can talk more, a giant Zoogle arrives and they must fight it. They take it down and attempt to comfort Nazamil in the aftermath.
Nazamil. Please don't run off again. That crest earlier. Was that?
Was that why you ran? Because you were afraid?
You are an aberration. As you are now, you're a worthless child. If you don't like it, Try being of use for once.
Because I'm not a Renan. I'm not a Danon. Everyone has always said that I'm not normal. I know that everyone hates me. People always have. Even my own father hates me. Everyone! I'm different from everyone! I just don't fit in anywhere!
Nazamil!
But that's...
A power I didn't ask for. One that was forced upon me. I've lost so much because of it. Just like you.
She agrees to stick with them, and they seal the mausoleum. As they go to leave, we learn that Alphen is struggling with his identity as the Blazing Sword.
I don't like being called the Blazing Sword.
Really?
Yeah. Danons and Renans make all kinds of assumptions just from that name. It doesn't feel good to be judged by people I've never even met.
Yeah.
Now on the way to the Sint, Alphen and Shion fill Nazamil in on their abilities and history as the Sovereign and Maiden. Finally, they reach Elda Menencia and its capital, the Sint. Like before, the city is a melting pot of different cultures living in harmony, as Dohalim had previously established. Drashin now assists all newcomers in finding a home and getting comfortable in the city. He provides Nazamil with housing within the palace, and they travel to the nearby garden while they wait for it to be ready.
So, you like that flower, huh?
The Rose of Unity. It's said to be a symbol of Rena and Dana becoming one. Is that why you like it?
It's a flower that's neither Renan nor Danon. I guess it reminds me of myself. From the very beginning, when we first met, both of you have tried to help me. The daughter of a lord, half Danon, a test subject. Finding out more about who I am didn't change anything in your eyes. Thank you.
Once the room is ready, they say their farewells to Nazamil and gift her with a Danon relic from earlier as a token of their friendship.
This is the charm from the ruins?
That's right. The good luck charm you give to someone special.
Really?
Of course. Think of it as a sign of our friendship, and a promise that we'll meet again.
Basically, we're friends now.
Friends. My very own friends.
Back outside, Kisara meets up with Legil, who informs her that the city's food supply is in danger, as a Zugul has been ravaging the ranch. So, they head there, but along the way, Lost senses something following them.
What is it? Zugals?
Couldn't it be just a mouse or something?
I don't think so, but I'm not sure what it is. Let's flush it out by force.
Wait!
It turns out to be Nazamil, as she didn't want to be alone. They speak with the farmer, but unfortunately, he has never seen the Zugul culprit, so they follow some tracks in the hope of finding it. They follow the tracks all over the surrounding areas, but can't spot the Zugul. Luckily, Nazamil has an idea and cloaks herself, flushing out what turns out to be an invisible Zoogle. They fight and defeat it, saving the crops. Back at the ranch, they find the farmer injured, having been attacked by the Zoogle shortly after they left to look for it. Before Xion can heal him, Nazamil steps forward and does so herself. Now healed, the farmer thanks her, and she is taken aback, not used to people being so nice to her. In celebration of saving the ranch, they camp out and have a feast, while Nazamil continues to get to know everyone and grow more comfortable around them.
Huh. That fluffball's usually so picky.
You don't get along with him?
Law's just jealous because, unlike you, he can't get Hootle to like him.
Are you kidding me? This ornery little owl likes to peck at my head. You hear that? At my head!
Well, Danon owls are a sensitive species. They're not too keen on the rowdy sort.
In the morning, they return to Laguille, who informs them that the situation in Niez is getting worse, so they decide to head back there. When they arrive, they find powerful and dangerous Zoogles on the loose.
There are too many for us to split up and fight in groups.
I'll take a look around.
Oh, right. If you turn invisible, you can walk right past the Zoogles.
Go ahead, but be careful.
I'll be fine.
Now then, let's hunt some Zoogles.
They fight their way through town as the locals blame Nazamil for what appears to be a hollowing-like effect on the Zoogles. I'm not sure why they would have an issue with someone clearing out the rampaging enemies, but whatever.
Brat. That damn Renin Lord's brat. She dissolved the Zoogles in a flash and then...
You're saying Nazamil did this? The dead Zoogles? And the hollowing too?
The hollowing is what remains after matter has been stripped of all its astral energy. Nazamil gathered astral energy for a powerful astral art before, so maybe...
They fight their way towards the plaza, where they find Nazamil cornered by enraged and irrational villagers.
She's a monster! She melted it! Just stay back! Are you okay?
Alphen!
Hold your fire!
Nazamil saved your lives!
The hell she did? She's a monster! How could the hero of Dana defend this abomination? I don't get it! Whose side are you on anyway?
Are you okay, Nazamil?
Despite Alphen's plea, they fire on Nazamil anyway. Now angry, Alphen turns on the locals and erupts in a blazing burst of energy.
If you would stoop so low as to harm an innocent... My enemy!
After he calms down, they regroup and speak with Bayfon. It turns out the idiots from the plaza attracted the Zoogles with incense, but have since been apprehended. At Bayfon's request, Alphen leaves the city until things can smooth over. Nazamil doesn't understand why things happened the way they did, and they attempt to explain why everyone is so dumb.
Why is Alphen the one being punished? Why not me?
It's okay. It isn't Bayfon's fault.
But...
It's fine. I'll do as you say, and leave for a while.
I'll tell everyone what really happened. How none of you are to blame.
It doesn't make any sense.
Honestly, I don't blame Alphen. He and everyone else worked so hard and sacrificed so much to save the world, and yet everyone is ungrateful, selfish, and stupid, preoccupied with others and petty differences.
We rushed to their aid, and this is how they treat us?
Enough, Law.
Anyway, in the morning they awake to find Nazamil gone, but she has left a note.
To my friends.
My first friends. It made me happy that I could help all of you. It made me happy to earn your praise. I don't want my friends to be sad. I don't want anyone to hate you. You all taught me that my power can be of use. So, I'm going to see if there isn't something I can do.
What is this? What are you planning on doing, Nazamil?
Weeks later, there has still been no sign of Nazamil, but they haven't given up the search.
We're still searching for Nazamil, using Vicent as our base of operations. She was so happy to finally make some friends. Where could she be? What is she up to? Wherever she is, regardless of how much we continue to search, we still haven't managed to find a single trace of her.
While traveling, Alphen opens up about the difficulties of being the Blazing Sword, and they witness more hostility, even in Vicent.
You know how for the past year I've been traveling with Xion, without settling down in any one place like the rest of you?
To seal up the mausoleums, right? That's something only you guys can do.
The reason I didn't stay in cities for long was because I wanted to avoid people.
Because everyone's either calling you a hero or a destroyer, right? That's why you exploded in Nies, isn't it?
Yeah. I wanted to protect Nazamil, but it wasn't just for her. A lot of that anger was for my own sake as well.
But what else could you do? Any way you look at it, they were in the wrong.
Fine. If it's come to this, I'll use my astral arts to show you who your master is.
Enough!
Why, you insolent!
Out of nowhere, Nazamil appears and tells Alphen to be patient before abruptly vanishing again. They then speak with Drashin, who asks them to deliver something to Cyslodia, which they accept. They reach Cyslodia, where they speak with Bregon, and deliver the correspondence. Just like all the other realms, Cyslodia is unstable, with unrest among its people. They complete many miscellaneous tasks and do what they can to bring peace to the realm before moving on to Calaglia. Here, Alphen interacts with various citizens and is burdened by the pressure of being the Blazing Sword. Everyone expects him to handle any and all of their everyday problems.
You're lost in your thoughts again.
That was probably the blazing sword they needed, not me.
People who know you see you.
We all have a hard time with the discrepancy between our true self and the impression others have of us.
Still struggling within his mind, he speaks with an old friend, Doc, who provides him with the enlightenment he needed.
Take it for granted because you're a hero. That must be tough. I don't blame you.
I just don't understand. Renans hate me without question, while Danans call me a hero. Who in the world am I?
They can't tell the difference between Alphen the person and Alphen the blazing sword. That's your real problem, isn't it? So you need to tell them. Remind them that you only have 2 hands.
Are you saying I should abandon people even when they're asking for my help?
Not at all. You want to help everyone. That's a great mindset, and there's nothing wrong with it. However, in order for you to meet everyone's needs, you would have to grow 1,000 hands. No, even 1,000 wouldn't be enough. You'd still miss something, and the people would still complain. All you can do is choose what's important to you. What will you do with just those 2 hands of yours? You are the one who decides, Alfred. Not the people, not the blazing sword, but you.
The next morning, he speaks with the people of Calaglia and encourages them to fight and support themselves, as the blazing sword won't always be around. With a newfound purpose, Alphen wishes to travel to different realms and preach to them as well, so he sets his sights on Niez. But when they arrive, something is very wrong. All of the citizens are walking around aimlessly and brain dead, wearing masks similar to Alphen's old one. They check in with Bayfon, who fills them in on the recent events.
A while back, some very odd folks showed up in town. They were all wearing masks, but there were both Renans and Danans among them. But that wasn't the weirdest part of the whole thing. Who do you think was leading them?
I don't know. Who?
Nazamil.
He claims that the leader of this new group is none other than Nazamil. We then cut to Nazamil as she continues to see her plan through.
Phase 1's coming along well. Soon, Phase 2 will come. Everything is going perfectly. Just you wait.
They follow a lead on Nazamil's hideout to the Shinefall Woods in Ganeth Harros. They battle and explore their way through until coming across another mausoleum, which just so happens to be Nazamil's base. More masked people stand guard, but let them pass as Nazamil is expecting their arrival. As they enter the mausoleum, we see a flashback of Nazamil's childhood and source of her issues.
Nazamil, now! Hurry up and kill him now!
The great and terrible Water Lord relying on the strength of another? How utterly pathetic.
What the hell have I been keeping you for all this time? Do something, Nazamil! Now!
Someone who clings to others' strength is not qualified to wield power or reap its benefits. Die.
Inside the Mausoleum of the Jungle is another dungeon area, full of exploration, collecting, fighting, and leveling up. As they traverse deeper, they discover the mask production facility and speak to some of the controlled people.
We mean that we all share the same values, the same thoughts and ideas as the reigning visage.
Our minds are calm. We have no conflicts.
In other words, everyone wearing one of those things just does what they're told?
This is wrong. Controlling minds? Forcing compliance? You can't call that peace!
They learn that Nazamil and her followers have even discovered the Keystone, the central location that controls all mausoleums. After a while, they find Nazamil's room, and a note left inside.
Everyone in the Forbidden Zone, and my father who sent me there, all they cared about was my power. I thought that if I did what they wanted, they would accept me.
But I was wrong. Because I have Danon blood. Because I possess all 6 elements. Because I was sent back from the Forbidden Zone. Because I'm different. I'm not Renan. I'm not Danon either. And it was all my fault. It was my fault. I was different. I always believed that. I believed there was nothing I could do. But again, I was wrong. It wasn't my fault.
I finally understand that. And I know what I have to do.
Finally, after more exploration, they find Nazamil as she continues her work.
Is it true you're trying to forcibly alter the wills of everyone in the world with those masks?
If you mean the suppressors, then yes.
Come on! You sure the hell Ganquil aren't forcing you to do this or something? That's it, right?
Sorry, but no. They are asleep. I merely looked in on their thoughts. That's how I found out about the suppressors and about the mausoleums.
So you're able to read minds? I see. So that's how she learned of the Keystone.
You can't get rid of everything that's different by compelling everyone to think like you.
Yes, I know. That's why I'm making their minds all the same. Same as mine.
She admits her plan to force everyone into being peaceful, as they refuse to do so otherwise.
Nazamil, please, stop this. Come back with us.
No way. Why would you say something like that?
Nazamil, listen.
I'm doing all this for you. You're supposed to be my friends. Why are you throwing it back in my face?
Nazamil!
I get it. It's because I was useless, wasn't I? Why do you despise me?
Of course I don't hate you.
I have an idea. All I have to do is put my thoughts in your heads as well. Then we'll be the same.
Confused at their actions, Nazamil decides she must convert their minds to hers, so they will see things her way. They refuse, and they do battle. Nazamil is extremely powerful, and can tank many attacks with a massive health bar. Eventually, her health is nearly depleted, but the fight is futile as Nazamil overpowers the group. I actually thought I failed the fight and was one-shot after getting her health down to so little, but this is not a winnable battle. I was very angry before I realized this, as I didn't want to battle her again. With everyone weak and injured from battle, Nazamil fights within her own head.
It wasn't supposed to be like this. I thought you were my friends. I don't know what to do. I don't want to be alone again. I don't.
Alphen attempts to slowly crawl towards Nazamil, but is too weak to reach her. She places a mask over her own head and leaves via a nearby teleporter. Once recovered, they examine the teleporter, but are unable to use it. Fortunately, her location is still stored in the teleporter, but they don't know how to reach her. I don't know how they don't remember the teleporter from earlier in the game, but whatever. They seal the mausoleum and return to Niez. However, things are worse than before, as even Bayfon is now under mass control. Luckily, there are still a few citizens bunkered down at the inn. It is here that they finally have a Jimmy Neutron-esque brain blast and remember the teleporter from the beginning of the game. They stay at the inn and prepare for the adventure ahead. The next morning, they reach the teleporter and enter the coordinates. Luckily, this takes them directly to the Keystone. Inside is the largest and most intricate dungeon area yet. This massive, enemy-filled realm has tons of high-powered Zeugles, several puzzle-solving sections with unlockable doors, and many useful items to collect in preparation for the final battle. Finally, after a very long and difficult journey through the Keystone, they encounter Nazamiel once more.
Nazamiel. So she really is wearing the mask. Looks as though she's connected to the core of the Keystone.
Nazamiel, can you hear me? Nazamiel!
They attempt to reach through to her one last time, but with the mask, there is no breaking through. With no other option, they battle her again. This time, she is even more tanky, powerful, and extremely evasive, barely staying in one place for long. After altering my strategy to focus on healing, as Nazamiel and all enemies seem to focus on my character alone, she is subdued. However, as expected, this isn't even her final form, as she is consumed by a gigantic beast, the Oppressor.
What happened to her?
Nazamiel, hang on!
Time to disappear.
This enemy is even more powerful and dangerous than Nazamiel, but was easier to ground and keep in one place. Very slowly, but surely its health was gradually drained, and it was defeated. But the nightmare continues, as this wasn't even its final form. However, the fight is over this time, as the battle is just for show. They team Lecture Jutsu Nazamiel while continuously attacking the Oppressor. Inspired by the team's ridiculously cheesy dialogue, Nazamiel breaks free from the beast and removes the mask.
Brace yourselves!
Let's end all this! Everyone, now!
Yeah, for another chance at life.
To bring forth a better world.
With all the people we love.
And being true to ourselves.
We'll be together forever.
A free heart!
I want to live. Tear down the walls!
The keystone is sealed, the astral energy returns to its rightful place, and the team is reunited. Back at Vicent, the group disbands and the game ends. Overall, the Beyond the Dawn DLC was just okay. While I really enjoyed the complex and emotional story from the main game, this just fell short for me. The side missions were repetitive and boring, with each simply reinforcing the same narrative over and over again. The citizens suck and hate each other, but after some random-ass mission, they begin to change and see things differently. Every village is the same, with really cheesy and inspirational dialogue accompanying meaningless objectives miraculously begin to erase years of prejudice. For a trophy, you need to complete all 40 subquests, which are easy enough to complete, but are not exactly a ton of fun, as there is a lot of tedious grinding and long, unfulfilling dialogue. Some objectives required items that took a long time to grind from enemies, but could also be available from the merchant, but it wasn't clear how to obtain these without a guide. So you could spend hours grinding for RNG drops when the item can simply be purchased instead. There were character-specific quests that were more fun, as these broke from the usual copy and paste missions, and even included things like Alphen fighting Volron in his mind, or Law battling the memory of Zephyr. Most missions, though, usually include collecting food items or defeating Zeugles, and are very similar to the main game, mostly serving as busy work to earn SP and gold. The gameplay itself was a ton of fun, as it was in the main story, but your previous skills were not unlocked from the start, and the leveling up grind was just to reacquire what you already had previously, which was pretty lame. The SP earned should have went solely to new skills unique to the DLC. The remaining trophies were not too difficult to obtain, and outside of the main story and subquests, you only had to craft 6 new weapons, which required extensive exploration of the Jungle Mausoleum, find all character portraits Nazamil draws, which required extensive exploration of the Keystone, dive from the highest point at Whirlpool Palace, and complete the group ultimate challenge at the training grounds. If you struggle at any point, simply level up and craft better weapons to try again. This is especially applicable for the group ultimate training, as the enemies are level 99 and extremely difficult without powerful gear, weapons, and accessories. But with those, it was not terrible. The main story itself was lacking any real substance or purpose. While Nazamil was perfectly fine as a character, I felt like they were trying to capture and recreate the essence of Alphen and Xion, as she had similar issues that they faced in the original game. However, the character growth and development that they experienced in the main story just wasn't here, as Nazamil lacked the depth the other characters had. There just wasn't any emotional connection or any reason to really care about what she was going through, other than her past was tough and people are mean. Even her backstory was vague, and lacked the needed details to get the player to truly connect and feel for her. She had a ton of potential, but just really fell short, as it left you wanting more out of the only real new character. In the main game, we learned so much about each of the main characters, and saw them slowly grow and change over time, in what was a truly amazing experience. I wish they had put the same effort into developing Nazamil, as it leaves me wondering what could have been. While it was nice to see Alphen get frustrated with the greedy and unappreciative nature of the civilians, the resolution he came to was lackluster. I grew tired of him always feeling sorry for himself whenever he reacted to something emotionally, which is normal and warranted. Constantly apologizing for every little thing, even those that were not remotely his fault, I could do without. The one positive was the difficulty Alphen had with balancing his identity as the Blazing Sword with the expectations and assumptions of those around him. However, he decides to just go around giving motivational speeches and lecture them on how to do things for yourself, which is fine, they should, but it just served no real purpose. I wish he had cared less about everyone thought of him, especially when they were irrational and just plain stupid. The entire premise of the story is that despite the team's effort to unite and save the world, everyone is still living with prejudice and having a hard time letting things go to live in peace. But as long as they give cheesy speeches, point out the obvious during dialogue, and never give up, all that will eventually go away, and everyone will be happy in time. I get that the path to peace would be a long and difficult journey, but the way they attempted to get there was just kinda lame, and the dialogue was cringy at times, feeling extremely unnatural and forced. Overall, the Beyond the Dawn DLC fell flat for me, especially when compared to the amazing, emotional journey the original game was. There were many side missions, but these felt like they existed for the sake of extending the total gameplay, and I wish the time spent on these went towards story missions and Nazamil's background and character development instead. While the battles and dungeons were action-packed and intense, the story was disappointing. If you have completed the main game and are still dying for more Tales of Arise, then I recommend playing Beyond the Dawn. Otherwise, I felt like the ending to the main game was far more satisfying, and the DLC I could have done without. While it wasn't necessarily bad, it didn't really add anything to the overall experience either. It's okay, and it's there if you want to play. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time for Post-Platinum Review number 2.